Welcome. It's Monday. It's 18:30 hours in London time, and welcome to Digital Communicators. First of all, I'm the producer of the show today. My name is Nick Lakhani, and as the producer, it falls on me to give you a introduction and a welcome. The meeting of digital communicators has now begun. Guests, please note that in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least all of the competent communicator manuals and levels 1 and 2 of a Pathways Path. Or you must have substantive relevant presentation experience that you can demonstrate in a speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to board approval. If you've not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and your role if you have one, and right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and often guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note, we will be recording this meeting and your video and audio contributions may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, please mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Today's theme is Love Connections. Please welcome our club president, DTM Nick Lakhani. Yay. As club president, it's very straightforward today. I just want to inform you all that after our first meeting, we had 20 plus members. After our second meeting, we had 25 members. We have sent in our charter papers to Toastmasters International. Well done, everybody. Well done. A lot of hard work that took place there. We have sent in our papers. We will be chartered soon, and look out for the party. Julian is going to be organizing. He is going to be needing some help. So we're going to have a bit of fun with that. Today, I'd like to welcome for a lively, energetic meeting, our Toastmaster of the day. Please give a very warm hand for Azra Muslim.
Without love, there can be no connection, no future, and no success together, said John C. Maxwell. Ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to each and every one of you to Digital Communicators. And like our president said, the theme is Love Connections. So for our meeting today, we have coming up prepared speeches, table topics and shotgun evaluations, and feedback to prepared speakers and the session as a whole. Rightly has it been said, love only grows by sharing. So for sharing what is going on in our event today, we have embraced at Digital Communicators a new role, the live reporter role. And today the member doing this role, for him, love makes the world connect irrespective of distances. And sharing the love around and make the world a better place is what he strongly believes in. So please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming none other than Ola.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests from all over the world. Thanks so much for that great introduction, our Toastmaster of the day. For tonight, I am the live reporter for Digital Communicators, and I'll be reporting live from Manchester via our Twitter handle and reporting the details of our Toastmasters meeting with different feeds going on Twitter. And definitely at the end of today's meeting, I'll produce a 2-minute video giving a summary of how lovely our meeting has been. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, our Twitter handler is on the chat box. Feel free, follow up, share different chats, comments, and thoughts about today's meeting. And definitely, I'm certain you all have fun. Over to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Ola. There is no one busy in this world. It's all about priorities. There is always time for the things we want and we feel it's important. Just like today, you are all here at Digital Communicators, that this meeting is important for you and we value your time. So to ensure that this event goes in time, we have with us our timer to someone who loves community and love the connection. And recently, just in the weekend, he's been cooking and serving homeless people. Please let's put our hands together to welcome Mahfuzur Rahman.
Madam Toastmaster of the day, I am responsible for keeping the track of the time for the meeting. And I will be keeping track for our speakers today. So when Vincent and Isra talks, Vincent has 5 to 6 minutes. So 5 green, yellow, 6 red, 7. You got 5 seconds before you're being muted. Pat and Ishrat are presenting the icebreaker, I'm sorry. And they're getting 4 to 6 minutes, 4 green, 5 yellow, and 6 red. So our table topics today, the shotgun evaluation getting 1 minute, and the speakers getting 1 to 2 minutes. 1 minute green, 1.5 yellow, 2 minutes red. And finally, our evaluators, Mar, Khaled, and Pam. You're getting 2 to 3 minutes, 2 green at 2, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3. And you get 5 seconds before you're being muted. Madam Toastmaster of the day, I will be keeping track, and I will have a report for you at the end of the meeting. Back to you.
Thank you. I love connections. It is important to stay in touch, especially during these unprecedented times, for our mental health and well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, these were the words of our grammarian. Let's put our hands together to welcome him. Carl Wash.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and very welcome guests. I'm just going to share my screen with you for very quickly. So I am going to be doing the grammarian role today, and the word of the day that I have chose for you is the word intricate. Intricate is having a lot of small parts that are arranged in a complicated or delicate way, with many complicated details, or like something very difficult to understand. So for example, the watch mechanism is extremely intricate and very difficult to repair. The tile floor is installed in an intricate pattern. So my role today, I will be looking for how many times the word intricate is used throughout the meeting. I will also be looking for powerful uses of phrase. I will also be looking for any clutch words such as like or so, and any good words that were used throughout. And also I will be looking for any powerful uses of phrase that tie in with today's theme. And at the end of today's meeting, I will be giving a report based on all my findings. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Now the time has come to listen to our fantastic speakers. We have 3 of them in a row. Our first speaker believes love is the first language a human being learns. And no matter how hard we try to dominate this unique language, it must be your heart that speaks for once and not your brain. Let's welcome Vincent Nure, an unforgettable speech or why Bitcoins may change your life. An unforgettable speech or why Bitcoins may change your life. Vincent Nure.
Vincent, we believe that you are mute, unless you want us to read your lips.
Please do.
Yeah.
You just need to.
As Toastmasters, we have learned to build a speech. We start with a great opening, a body, a conclusion, a call to action. However, and that is often the problem, we don't often interact, connect with our audience so that they will remember what we have been talking about. And tonight I'm trying to tell you, and I'm going to demonstrate to you that you will remember tonight's speech in a year's time. What is the trick? You can connect with your audience through love, for instance, and the love for money. Most people are adoring having money in their pockets. And money, as we know it, bills and coins are changing. 15 months ago, my friend Zachary, a Finn, these Finns who you ask and say, how are you today? And he says, bad. They are deeply honest. He said, Vincent, I would recommend you to invest into Bitcoins. And he said, this is a safe investment. It's very likely to go up, but only put in as much money as you're prepared to lose. And I said, well, okay, fair enough. And we put in some money together with my wife, and we were lucky. Bitcoins are going up, 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 a little down again, up, 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 down again, up, up, up. And even today, thanks to the WhatsApp I received from Hazel this afternoon, I learned that Bitcoins have again increased by about 10%. But that is not the reason I'm telling you to invest into Bitcoins. Bitcoins have a unique quality. They're independent of banks, they're independent of central banks. You can control your own money. And when I started buying Bitcoins 15 months ago, it was really sort of a marginal thing. It would be like thieves and tax evaders who would go in and buy some money which is untraceable. But when I bought Bitcoins, it became mainstream. Not only are investment bankers now investing into Bitcoins, PayPal is now accepting payments in Bitcoins. And today, Tesla announced that you can buy their cars with Bitcoins. And that makes a huge difference because suddenly you can use that currency for a practical purpose. Now you say, how does that connect with a speech, an unforgettable speech? Well, you have an opening. Bitcoins will change your life. People are interested. A body, I'm telling you how Bitcoins work. Bitcoins are based on trust between thousands and thousands of computers. And there's not a single person who managed that. So therefore, the possibility of you losing your investment is practically impossible. Nobody can steal it unless you forget your password. That is important. But it is secure, and you don't depend on central banks, which in times of COVID-19, a lot of central banks have major problems in printing money to balance the dire straits of the economies. And that means that the United States dollar, the euro, the pound are losing against basket currencies and therefore are being devaluated bit by bit. Consequently, Bitcoin is going up because they are not just staying stable, but they're increasing in value because people think that is a safe investment. So how can you measure that you will not forget what I told you tonight? In a year's time, you have three options. Option number one, you followed my advice, you bought a small amount of money in Bitcoins. Remember, don't buy more than you can afford to lose. And it has gone up in value. You say, wow, Vincent has got us some money, wonderful. Option number two, you've lost some money. And you say, well, that was a bad advice, we lost some money, but I would not sell. I would wait on the long run, it's likely to increase again. Third option, you have done nothing. You have not followed my advice. Now you read in the newspaper that Bitcoin has gone up in price. Wow. And I didn't buy anything. I didn't follow Vincent's advice. That is a shame. Therefore, building a memorable story is a great opening, a body, a call to action, and connecting with your public, listening what they would like to hear. What is in it for your audience? Thank you so much.
Bitcoins, should I say, our new love connections. Ladies and gentlemen, coming next is someone who loves Toastmasters family and Toastmasters so much that since 2018, he has delivered about 70 speeches in 30 different clubs, from New Zealand to Honolulu, and will soon become a DTM. Let's put our hands together to welcome Pat Caslin. Things healthy people don't know, things healthy people don't know, Pat Caslin.
Pat, would you like to unmute yourself? We can't, he may be disconnected. We can't see him on screen. Azra, would you like to go to speaker 3 until Pat sorts his problem out? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Our next speaker, she shares levels of love connection with people in her life at different levels: physical, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual, which is something she sadly believes we usually take for granted now. She is now at a turning point in her life whereby she is questioning and reviewing all these love connections to understand herself better and have healthier relationship. Let's put our hands together to welcome, should I say, my neighbor from Mauritius, Ishrat Bandhan, the milking cow, Ishrat Bandhan.
Love connections. Prior to having one with all the beautiful people you meet as you tread along in your life journey, the most fundamental love connection you build, first and foremost, is the one with your mother. A connection, let alone a loved one, which takes place well before the visit from the stork. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, my name is Ishrat, and I'm the mother of not one, not two, not three, but 4 children with an age span from 8 to 12. It is with much lightness of being that I invite you tonight to have a little private peek into a very special yet significant part of my journey through motherhood. When one speaks of babies, what comes to your mind? All the cuteness, the goos and the gas, and the crazing sleeping patterns, right? Well, for me, my babies were synonymous, amongst many other beautiful things, with breasts. I initially gave birth to twin daughters and was adamant on breastfeeding my girls right from the start. Much to the despair of the nurses, I would breathe down their necks for fear they'd secretly feed my girls with formula, and I was a real pain for them. Little did I know what I was letting myself into. Melons, bazookas, boobies, titties, however you call them, well, my breasts became the thing. They were no longer my property, not to mention even less that of my other half, my husband. Breastfeeding took the boob job to a whole other level. I recall Neeraj, my husband, insisting on taking me on a weekend break to the hotel, roughly 6 months down the line, to spend some quality time together. And with mum reassuring, I left the girls behind. Well, I tell you, that weekend was one of my worst nightmares. Not only my tops were constantly wet from accidental leakings, but I suffered so bad from engorgement that I ended up breastfeeding a much older baby. Whoever said there's no use crying over spilled milk obviously never pumped a bottle full of milk and accidentally spilled it or gave it away. Did you know that mother's milk make miracles? I felt very much a skinflint when my mom's friend asked me a few times for some of my milk to heal her sore eyes. Like, wasn't my feeding my babies enough? Every single drop mattered. I still wholeheartedly gave her some of my milk, and God, she was grateful. My worst breastfeeding moments? Well, I've had a few. Let me tell you about the niplash. Have you ever heard of the term? I have to say the girls were quite good, but the boys, man, the boys. You know, when they decide not to take a break from nursing and suddenly and energetically jerk their head around to look up, down, or all around the room, still firmly latched onto my boob, ouch. It made it so much harder when they started teething. One other anecdote was when my uncle's French girlfriend was visiting. I was in my mom's room upstairs, all privacy, leisurely breastfeeding my girls simultaneously as I was taught to do, and with my boobies up in the air for all to see. Well, not really, but you get what I mean, right? Well, she barged in out of the blue, took her camera out and started clicking away. I felt like burying my head in the sand and looked for extra hands to cover myself up. Sadly, there were none. I just sat there, desperate, and smiled back. Worse was when she sent me the photos from France through my aunt, and my worst nightmare for everyone to see. So French. Oh, I felt 1,000 times like a milking cow. This was all I was doing when my third and fourth babies came along. Feed the twins, feed the boys, feed the twins, feed the boys. Being the prudish woman that I am, motherhood changed that side of me. I've breastfed literally everywhere and anytime. In supermarkets, whilst shopping for grocery, in taxis, in the park, at the beach, you name it. In the middle of the night, with Neeraj snoring blatantly right next to me, and me watching him sleep with his worthless nipples. But with all its ups and downs, with hindsight, I do not regret a thing. If I were to do it all over again, I would throw myself into it blindly. There are no words to describe that physical and emotional connection with my babies. Priceless. I've to say, though, that I am just happy to have my melons all to myself now. They've done their fair share of hard work and deserve a rest. Mind you, I can proudly say I'm a superwoman. As intricate as this may sound, I made milk. What's your superpower? Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Our last prepared speaker for today's meeting is someone who loves the Toastmasters so much that since 2018, he delivered about 70 speeches in 30 different clubs, from New Zealand to Honolulu, and soon will be completing his DTM. Let's put our hands together to welcome Pat Caslin. Things healthy people don't know, things healthy people don't know, Pat Caslin.
Madam Toastmaster, tonight I want to share some of the things that I have learned that healthy people don't know. Over the weekend, I was reminded of a conversation I had a number of years ago with a friend who had terminal illness. We talked about a lot of things, and after some time, I was able to ask him, how is he coping with the knowledge that his time is limited, which opened up a long discussion on what's important in life. He told me he sees it as a gift. I was surprised at this. He told me that his father had died suddenly about the age he is now, and this had deprived him of the opportunity to hear things from him that he needed to hear and to say things to him that he needed to say. Tempted as I was to demonstrate my empathy with events from my own experiences, I kept my mouth shut and gave him the most precious gift I had, my presence. I knew as he spoke that he didn't want empathy. He didn't want false encouragement. He didn't want compassion. He just wanted to be heard. He shared memories. He passed on wisdoms. He spoke of relationships he wanted to settle. He asked me to look out for those people he would leave behind. And he spoke of making his peace with God. I told him that he now understood many of the things that healthy people don't know. He was curious about what I meant. I told him that I'd been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis a number of years previously. Multiple sclerosis is a disease of the nervous system that can cause physical or cognitive disability, or both. I count myself fortunate that my disability is physical only, and you can make up your own mind on the cognitive part. Like him, my diagnosis had stopped me in my tracks and forced me to reevaluate what's important in life. I explained to him that I remain positive, that MS has given me back at least as much as it has taken away. I focus on the things I can do rather than on the things I can't. Though the disease has become progressive and every year I can measure the incremental disability that it visits on me, with eyes wide open to its range of potential outcomes, I can see the diagnosis as a gift because it has helped me to discover, as I call them, the things that healthy people don't know. It has brought what's important in life into sharp relief: relationships, purpose, meaning. It's helped me to understand that life is short, not because we don't have enough time, mostly because we waste the time we have on meaningless things. It's also laid bare the fallacy of success. It's helped me to understand how invidious it is to compare yourself with others. It has put me in touch with many of the ancient wisdoms, and it has shown me how people with multiple times the challenges that I have adapted and thrived. It's given me strength and a new understanding of the value of life and what's important. It's given me a voice. It's given me the opportunity and the confidence to speak my mind, to share the things I've learned, and to build stronger, more enduring friendships based on meaningful conversation. Genuinely meaningful conversation reaches into the essence of others' souls. It allows those others to reach into ours. It builds trust. Meaningful conversation shares understanding and wisdoms that give others ways to change the way they look at life for the better. Meaningful conversation helps us to cope with setbacks, to deal with adversity, to grow from challenge, to be content with what we have, and to measure ourselves by our own values rather than by other people's. I've been to 30 or so different Toastmasters around the world, and the best Toastmasters meetings are the ones where people share of themselves meaningfully, how they think, what's important to them. They walk us through the insides of their own stories, stories that they're prepared to own, stories that allow us to understand in their frailty, in their humanity, and in their vulnerability. Everyone here wants to be better digitally, but that's only half of what this club should be about. And it's the easy half. We will learn the digital tools and tricks. We'll be able to help each other to understand the anatomy of stories so that we can build our ideas into better stories. These are just processes. The other half is about becoming better communicators. If the content of our speeches reveals the honesty within us, if it's authentic to the vulnerabilities that we protect ourselves from, if it builds each other's confidence in sharing our humanity and frailty, if out of it shines the essence of who we are and what's important to us, that more than anything will make this the best Toastmasters Club we will ever join. We will grow immeasurably as individuals, as speakers, and as influencers, whether digitally or in person, because we will have built the trust in others and the confidence in ourselves that sharing that part of us that is truly authentic, genuinely unique, and deeply personal is the essence of communicating meaningfully and powerfully. This is what I would like this club to be. A club in which we not only become better speakers, but a club in which we become better people. A club in which we help each other to live more fulfilled lives. A club in which we learn some of the things that healthy people don't know. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, each and every speaker of tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the meeting at 7:45, you can meet speakers at breakout rooms, which will be opened. For now, may I please request our timer, would you mind sharing the time of our speakers, please?
Madam Toastmaster of the day, I almost had muted someone, but here is your timer, 5:40, 6:02, and 6:14. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much. Now the time has come to you all to speak on your feet. Coming up is the table topic segment and the shotgun evaluation. And the table topic, monster. Is he really going to be a monster? Well, about what he thinks about love connection. He said, no matter how bad things are, no matter how challenging the time we are in, love is everywhere and we'll get out of this. So I would say he's not going to be a monster. Let's put our hands together to welcome our table topic master, Julian Cereceda.
Hello, 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 on your feet, on your toes, on alert. This is table topics and shotgun evaluations. Table topics means I will choose a person at random and I will ask him or her a question. You have up to 2 minutes to answer that question. Shotgun evaluation is after the first speaker, the table topics speaker speaks, I'm gonna play this sound. And somebody in the audience will have to give 1 minute evaluation. So, are we ready to play? Let's go. The first question goes like this. Can love be bought? And this question goes to Hazel.
Topics master. I think love can be bought, but it should not be bought. Love is something that should come from the heart and not, for example, if somebody buys love, usually it's to do with if somebody has a lot of money or something like that, that's when they say gold diggers, that you have gold diggers. They're looking for whatever they can get and pretend to be in love with you. But I really don't think that love should be bought, like I said already. Love is something where you can really get involved with somebody. It may not necessarily be your partner. It could be you love your child, you really love somebody else. You just like the way the person is. But love is something that we human beings need in this world, especially during these pandemic times. Topics master.
Thank you very much. Okay, the evaluation is for Diane.
To be in love, to be in love. Love is patient, love is kind. And that is who Hazel is. Hazel's speech was very clear. Her voice variety was very consistent. You made eye contact. Your gestures, I didn't see much, but I love you and I know your heart was pounding. The comfort level, you were very comfortable with your delivery of love. And it is very interesting topic at this time, to be in love, to be in love. And I thank you, Hazel, and I thank you, Toastmasters, for this opportunity for evaluating love.
Next question. What makes your heart beat? What makes your heart beat, Grace? Gracie.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Gracie. What makes your heart beat? So, recently, a while back, I saw this definition of love that I think I greatly resound with. It goes, love is when one person knows all your secrets, your deepest, darkest, most dreadful secrets. And yet, in the end, the one person does not think any less of you, even if the rest of the world does. And I think that that's an incredibly beautiful definition of love, because at the end of the day, everyone has this different perspective, this different version of you that they interpret. But if just one person looks at you as though you are a wonderful human being, then it should be enough. That's love. And I think that gets my heart racing because it's beautiful, really. I'm not talking just love in the romantic sense, but even platonically. I think when someone takes the time to understand you, to look into the different facets of your soul, and to take that time to grow with you as a person, I think that's just a really beautiful development. And I hope that everyone here gets to experience that someday if they haven't already. So yeah, that makes my heart beat. That beautiful, that I'm not really, that warmth that comes with love. I think that really gets my heart beating. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, beautiful. The shotgun evaluation goes for Larry Lyons.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master. And what a wonderful exhibition for a girl her age to give such a commanding explanation of what makes your heart beat. And if that's what she can produce now, if she becomes a member of Toastmasters and give her 10 years experience, she will run the country with an approach like that. Fantastic, exhilarating, and a different angle to what I would have done. My heart was pounding when I heard you mention my name, but she put a different twitch on it, totally different to what I was expecting. So that's what I like about that, the way she responded. A totally different meaning that she put on it than what I was expecting. She spoke very clearly, good pace, good delivery. Excellent, well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Why noses run and feet smell? Why noses run and feet smell? Kavita.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I missed it.
You have it here on my screen. Why noses run and feet smell?
Sorry, I can't.
Why noses run and feet smell?
What a great question. I have finally understood what you're trying to say to me. Why do noses run and feet smell? Is that correct? This has got nothing to do with love, the theme, but I have an answer why noses run and feet smell. One of the reasons noses run is because it gets like really cold, particularly in London. If you guys were to visit London at the moment, you would find if you went out in the bitter wind, you would actually find your nose would run. But feet smell, particularly after you've been for a run. If you go for a run around the block and you take your shoes off, you will find they smell. Now, I don't know the reason for it, but I reckon the reason for it is to do with the bacteria that sit in your socks. And what they do is they live on the sweat, and that what happens is it produces a type of smell. And I actually don't know exactly why, but thank you, Julian, for that wonderful question. It had nothing to do with love, but I enjoyed answering it. Thank you.
It's all about body parts. The shotgun evaluation goes for Paul Mahoney.
Well, Kavita began by playing tricks on us all. I got the impression that she really hadn't been paying attention, but as she continued to speak, I realized she'd been paying attention all along. She was buying time. That was my first impression. My first impression, therefore, a very intelligent speaker. The second point I want to say is that she misled the entire audience by saying one of the reasons for something is, thereby teasing us with the idea that there were several other reasons. And then she said, I don't know the reason why feet smell. And then she said, I reckon. So she did know what in her opinion was why feet smell. Fantastic trickery by the speaker. I hope the audience appreciated it. She had, final point, she had the best eye contact I've seen at a Toastmasters meeting. Her eye contact was superb. Thank you, Kavita.
Thank you very much. Let's get serious and talk about something deeper than love. Does God exist? Does God exist? And this question goes to Pamela Benjamin.
Pamela, you're on mute.
Does God exist? Thank you for that wonderful question, Julian. I really appreciate that. And I just want to say, if you look at a beautiful field of flowers, if you look at a beautiful sunrise, if you look at a tiny baby who's just been born, if you look at a toddler who's learning to speak and taking little baby steps and learning to walk, you in your heart know that there is something greater than you outside yourself. So around the world, we call that many different things. And many in us in the United States think of it as God, one supreme being who created the world and who created beauty, not only around us, but who we are and the relationships we have. So those things tell me that there is a God that who is majestic and creates beautiful, wonderful things. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Let me ask Robin Chang to do a shotgun evaluation. Robin Chang.
All right, so Pamela, very good attempt on answering this question. I believe that this question is very difficult because not a lot of people know how to answer that, especially when they don't believe there's a God. And you tackle it in a way that is very general, that is something that will make people think at the same time to realize that with all these things that is around that in terms of creation, then you'll be able to put it out as God really exists. So you point out to God like in a way that people can connect. So very good attempt on that, and I really praise you for that. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Next question is a tough one. Tell me everything you know about apples. Tell me everything you know about apples. And this question goes to Fred Eichenboom.
The apple caused us a lot of things. It started in paradise when Eve ate the apple and handed it to Adam. So we lost everything of wealth and had to go to the desert. But there was more. There was that time that one Willem Tell shot the apple from the head of his son. How a marksman can be pinpointing apple on his head of his son. And don't forget the famous apple which fell from the tree, which inspired Newton to examine gravity. But next to that, we enjoy apples very much. Apple pie with whipped cream next to your coffee, especially when you go on Dutch. You have to visit Delft because there they make the most wonderful apple pie. And I can tell you a lot more, but unfortunately, I will get out of time then. So I leave you here with an apple pie to think about. Thank you, the Toastmaster.
Fantastic, Fred. Okay, shotgun evaluation goes for Luis Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master and Toastmaster Fred. First of all, thank you for clarifying the question, because I have to say, Mr. Topics Master, between my going a little deaf and then your accent, I thought you were asking folks to tell you all about uppers. And I'm like, wow, how did we go from love to drugs? Woo, boy, this is definitely an advanced club, isn't it? So Fred, thank you again for clarifying what the question was in terms of apples. And you know what, I would have taken the same approach that you did in terms of describing the various things about apples, one being shooting the apple off the head with the arrow, apple pie. And you also had me at coffee. I don't know if there is such a thing as apple flavored coffee, but I am an avid coffee drinker, so I really love coffee. It was an intricate topic because it was very open-ended and you could have really gone anywhere with it. And again, my friend, I probably would have taken a similar approach. With that said, great job kind of going at a somewhat of a slow pace. I don't know if that is your general speaking nature. You may tell from me, I speak very quickly. However, you did a much more slower approach, which is very good for having the clock run, which I've taken that approach several times myself, my friend. So wonderful job taking, again, a very intricate topic and running with it. Back to you, Topics Master.
Thank you, Nach. Next question. I don't care what you vote. I don't care what you think. But tell me why Donald Trump is the best president in history, American president in history. Kubi Ujanga, all yours. Good luck. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay, the question is, thank you. The question is why Donald Trump is the best American president in history. And just like the topic masters warned all of you, I warn you too. We do not care what your opinion is. Donald Trump is the best American president in history, and that is period. So why? I think one of the things, one main thing makes him the best American president in history. It tested the fault lines of the institutions of the American democracy. And what happened? It showed that the American democracy is strong as a fortress. The fact is, Donald Trump has helped America to have an introspective look at itself, to the things that are working, and to make those things to work even better. And even the things that are not working, Donald Trump has helped America to see, oh, these things might be needing some bit of work. And of course, I'm sure the American people are going to look into that. Donald Trump has helped us to know what is good and to follow that. They helped us to know what is bad and to also follow that. And in my place, I'm from Akwa Ibom State in Nigeria, the southern part of Nigeria, and my tribe is a tribe called Ibibio. And there's a saying in Ibibio, if I can translate it to English, it would go this way, that good people and bad people are very, very important. Good people to show as an example for people to follow suit, and bad people to show as an example for people to avoid such behavior. So all in all, Donald Trump has served as a good example for people who think he was a good president, and a bad example for people to avoid whenever they tend to go for the presidency. But all in all, forget whatever my comments sounded like. If it sounded like I passed some blame on him, that was just a literary device. The truth is that Donald Trump is the best American president in history. Don't you think so, Topics Master?
Fantastic, well done. And the shotgun evaluation goes for Sandra Murphy. Sandra Murphy, yours.
You know what? I appreciate your honesty, because a lot of people right now, oh, Trump, he's the worst thing that could have ever happened to mankind. But you're right, because he opened our eyes to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of people, and especially in America, where racism has always been covered up, where disenfranchisement for the poor and the needy has always been covered up. And he showed us the antiquated actions of our healthcare system that we never addressed, and we never really looked at it for what it is, and the greed in America. So I appreciate what you said about Trump. I'm not mad at him, because we've had worse than Trump. So again, thank you for your honesty and your clarity, and you did a good job. My brother, you want it. Stay honest and truthful to yourself, always.
Thank you much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I challenge you to feel uncomfortable in front of an audience. Back to you, Miss Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Julian. Mr. Timer, can you please share the timing for this segment, please?
Shot anybody today? However, almost was ready to shot a couple folks. One sec. All right, there you go. Pretty much everybody stayed within the time, except one or two folks. Back to you, Madam Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've now reached the evaluation part. Let's dive in. Well, when we talk about love connection, we often associate it with other things. But when I asked our first evaluator what this means for her, she said, love connection is about self-love. To nurture self-love is like planting seeds for any other kind of love to blossom. Please, let's put our hands together to welcome none other than Mark Kanu to evaluate the speech of Vincent Nere. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Azra. An unforgettable speech, or why Bitcoins may change your life. Wow, Vincent, that was a very, very intricate, maybe a speech that I was expecting. I was like, yeah, I want to change my life. So why not try Bitcoins? So there I was, curious to learn more about that path, that sharing that you brought today here to all of us. Now, I noticed your speech at some point just moved us and evolved from your experience, right? And was kind of inspiring, even persuading at some point. I hope that some of us, or maybe who knows, will get into investing Bitcoins. And back in a year, we'll be all here to see if that message really was unforgettable. Let me share now some recommendations. Yeah, as your project is based on evaluation and feedback, so you can implement it in your next speech, let's focus on them then. First, I heard you saying how building a story involves opening, closing connections. So what if your opening had been a bit more powerful? I can even barely remember it and recall it, yeah? And of course, next time we'll make sure that our microphone is on and muted before we get started, right? And second thing, as for the closing, how memorable is it for all of you in the audience? For me, personally, I was not sure if there was a message to messages or what the exact connection in between investing Bitcoins and building a story, was about. So I was like, what is the true message that Vincent wants to share and bring here with us? And maybe you want to think about that connection in a more powerful way for your next speech. And just finally, you may want to explore a little bit more on vocal variety, your voice, yeah? At some points, the tone for me was a little bit flat, except in some key moments, like when you said, what was that? I bought some Bitcoins. Yeah, and you raised your voice there. That was very noticeable for me. And you also may want to consider your physical placement, yeah? You were on one side of the screen, maybe you could have placed yourself in the middle and with a bit more clear background. Just to finish, all in all, I love that you shared and brought Bitcoins into our lives so we can change our lives because it's on our way.
Thank you. Without connection, there is no love. And without love, there is no connection. Love and connection are vital for growth, success, and happiness. This is what our next evaluator believes in. Let's put our hands together to welcome Pam Rowley to evaluate the speech of Ishrat Bandhan.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The milking cow, a light-hearted approach to the joys of being a nursing mum. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, welcome guests, and especially Ishrat. What a great speech from the Engaging Humour Pathway. Ishrat found a really good way of turning an everyday thing into a humorous speech. I'm sure many of the mums on here will be able to relate. Ishrat used some great techniques when speaking. She started by using rhetorical devices of enumeration. She numbered and counted on her fingers, I have not one, not two, not three, but 4 children. This rhetorical device is a very good way of grabbing the audience and getting their attention and getting people to listen. They're a good technique for speakers and writers to convey a message and to keep attention. Ishrat had good vocal variety and tone. However, I think you could have used pauses a little bit more effectively. So when you spoke about the weekend away and you said, what a nightmare, I think if you paused for a couple of seconds, it would have got people listening, leaning forward and saying, what was this nightmare then? Tell us about it. You might also want to consider lighting and background. So the light is shining off your glasses a little bit, which makes it hard for us to see your eyes and to see your face and any expressions. I think a light behind your computer screen or your laptop helps and takes the glare off your glasses, but I know it does happen to me a little bit as well. And something else that Ishrat might want to consider is the background. Although there's lots of books there and they do look really interesting, I found myself leaning forward thinking, oh, I wonder what that one is. What's she reading now then? So again, background might be something to consider. However, in conclusion, I think about the background and lighting, as we said, but keep on with the humour. I think making a joke out of an everyday thing is a really good way of making humour. And I think what really well is that you made it funny. I think some of the men might have been squirming a little bit, but most of them were laughing and smiling, and I think they can relate to it. And I loved the way you finished with that question, what is your skill? So well done, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Our last evaluator for tonight. For her, love connections means music. And the best way to connect the feelings of love is through a song or melody. Let's put our hands together to welcome Colette, who will be evaluating the speech of Pat Caslin.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially Pat Caslin. Well, Pat, I think I've been tasked with a tall order to evaluate your speech, given that you have already given over 70 speeches so far on your Toastmaster journey. Your objectives were to introduce yourself to the club, deliver on any topic of your choice, and you chose a motivational style. You had a time of 6 minutes. Firstly, Pat, I must compliment you because you excelled at your timing at 6 minutes and 2 seconds. Your structure was well placed in terms of how you wove a conversation with a friend facing their mortality and brought us on a journey of your own personal struggle with MS. It was wholehearted and personal. And talk about know your audience, Pat. You took your experience to motivate us to not only be better speakers, but be better people. Powerful. But I know, Pat, you want to hear things that you can work on. So I have a couple of recommendations. You might want to work on your screen presence. There were times when you could have drove your message home a bit more. You posed certain questions. How do we waste time? What is the fallacy of success? How do we waste time? What is the fallacy of success? And then maybe sit back a bit in your chair. You could also, Pat, in terms of gestures, use your hands a bit more. Now, you did, in fact, use your hands, but I'd like to see you using them a bit more. Reach out to us because you're speaking to me. You're motivating me. I also would suggest, Pat, that you try to challenge yourself in terms of extrapolating a bit more in your structure. For example, you talked about, how we'll make ourselves to be better people and how your journey has led you to where you are in your life. But give me a scenario of a time when you feel that you weren't such a good person. Make it up. It doesn't have to be the truth. You're here to teach me a lesson and I'm listening to you. You're motivating me to be a better person. So you could play with your words a bit more. You don't have to stick to the factual. You are telling us a story, link in pieces of your own life and let your mind go free in what you want to say to motivate us to be that better person. Overall, Pat, it was an absolute pleasure to hear you, to listen to you, and I think you have really educated us on things that people don't know. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Colette.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now reaching nearly the end of the meeting. So we'd like to call upon our timer, Mahfazur Rahman, for his report.
Madam Toastmaster of the Day, thank you. And we are just sending the timer over the chat. The first evaluator, Mark, came in at 3:50. Pam came in 2:11, and Colette at 3:34. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Who's been able to love and connect to the word of the day? Intricate. Well, to know that, let's hear from our grammarian in his report. Let's welcome Carl Wash.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and very welcome guests. Yes, the word intricate was used a few times. One person of note who used it twice in his evaluation was Lewis. So I want to congratulate Lewis on using the word of the day twice. So very well done to you, Lewis. Israel used it once in her speech. So well done, Israel. And intricate was also used by Marcano in her evaluation today as well. And I didn't pick it up from anyone else, but anyone else who did use it, a very big congratulations to you as well. There were a few powerful uses of phrase that I picked up on. Democracy is strong as a fortress. I heard that was once, so that's a very, very powerful phrase. Meaningful conversations helps us deal with setbacks and adversities, a lovely phrase. And all the most beautiful people that you meet on your journey. So that was another lovely one as well. And love is something that can come from the heart. So these were some powerful uses of phrase that I picked up on today's speeches. So very well done to everybody who used some very powerful phrases. And thank you. That is my report today, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you very much.
Coming next is our general evaluator. When I asked him his views on love and connection, he came with a short poem by Nikolai Sparks, and it goes as follows. The best love is the kind that awakens each soul and makes us reach for more, that plants a fire in our hearts and bring peace to our minds. Let's put our hands together to welcome our general evaluator, Andrew Burney.
Intricately weaving the threads of a brand new and exciting Toastmasters Club, a club that values every single new member, that maximizes the possibility for each member to gain feedback and to grow, and that welcomes its many, many guests to an exciting and lively meeting. It was a pleasure this evening to be greeted in the breakout room by Joseph. Doubly a pleasure because he was there awaiting the arrival of his new baby. So it was 10 marks to him for coming along to the meeting at all. And he kept the conversation flowing beautifully. Our president and producer, Nick, deftly introduced himself. What a pleasure to introduce oneself in a meeting. And he gave us some inspiration to start out with. This is a club that is chartering. We have lots of new members. If you are here as a guest this evening, start signing up because there's something very exciting happening here. Our Toastmaster of the evening is Azra. She gives us a clear presentation of the agenda. And overall, it's a very welcoming and fine presentation. We have speaker introductions that relate to the theme of the evening. There's also the possibility for prepared speakers to give an introduction which tells us a bit more about that individual speaker. So I'll be passing on a template of speaker introductions that can be used by club members who are undertaking this Toastmaster role. It's another alternative. It gets you to think about such things as why should we be listening to the speaker? What will the takeaway be for us in listening to that particular speech? So that's for the prepared speeches. Our timer this evening is Mahfazur, who's kept us well on time, I'm very pleased to say. I would rather see a presentation of the colours in the introduction of the role rather than a listing of what the timing will be for each individual part of the meeting. And that's because I'm fearful that a list will be forgotten. I'd rather see clearly that there are going to be timers lights, and then Toastmaster and Table Topics Master can introduce the timings for their sections. However, very well presented in the reports this evening. I was most pleased with those. Grammarian Carl Walsh giving us intricate as our word of the day. I did spot a slight error in the introduction, and it is that I have chosen, not that I have chose. I think if we're going to be the grammarian, we have to demonstrate. But what we got from Carl this evening was some very clear listening skills. He'd clearly noted everything down, and he was right on top of the grammarian role. Topics Master Julian, how I enjoyed this lively session, and the introduction of a shotgun for the evaluation section, well, that was certainly different. Can I encourage that we have, if we're going to put the question on the screen, that it is absolutely correct grammatically and spelling wise, because otherwise it can perturb the speakers as well as help them. So let's make sure we've got something that's grammatically correct and that reads well on the screen. However, it was a really engaging Table Topics session from Julian this evening. I had 3 splendid evaluators. I had Ma, who came to evaluate Vincent, and I was very pleased with her style of evaluation. I would have liked to hear more in the third person, either he or Vincent, rather than you, because we do third person evaluate at Toastmasters. When we're talking about the engaging style and the time, she talked about the timing as well of the speech, which was, I thought, very, very an interesting approach in the evaluation that she gave. Colette came to do the second evaluator for me, and she mentioned the objectives of the speech. Thank you so much for that. She mentioned uses of pauses, and she demonstrated also to us, which was great, and about connection. Now, I would have liked to have heard a comment. There was a comment about reflection on lenses of glasses with evaluator 3, who was also splendid, and that was Pam as well. And I would have liked to have heard about connecting through the lens. I think maybe we all underestimate how much energy it takes to get the message through the lens and out to an audience in this online situation. So I'd like us all as a club to think about that, because this is where we're going. We are the digital communicators, and we want to be tip top on our digital communication and the way that we project that energy out. But congratulations to all my evaluators this evening. You all gave recommendations. I'm so pleased. Could I suggest that we start our meeting with meet and greet at 6 o'clock, and then maybe start the meeting proper at 6:20 or 6:15? Those 15 or 10 minutes would be really useful to this club. Not all advanced projects go into the 5 to 7 minute time slot, so it'd be useful to have extra minutes. We could have a golden nugget about digital communication. We have Nick, who's an expert. We have lots of experts in this club. Let's hear from them about digital communication. It's the specificity of this particular club. Let's hear about it all. So let's take the time and have a slightly longer meeting and a wonderful meet and greet, warm meet and greet for a quarter of an hour to start us off. Little bugbear of mine, there was a lot of requirement to ask people to unmute. Please do remember to unmute when you are asked to come to the speaking space. But the whole meeting had some zest, and we're just starting out. We're at meeting number 3. Can you imagine where we will be at meeting number 10? And guests, as I say, if you want to be somewhere really exciting, come and join up to Digital Communicators. I'm handing back to Toastmaster Azra.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to part for me now. It's time for me to hand over to President Nick. But before that, I would like to thank each and every one of you for attending the session tonight and for all the role players who did a wonderful job. And I love the connection we have at Digital Communicators. Thank you, each and everyone. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Azra. Fabulous job, everybody who took part today. Thank you. I have a very quick couple of announcements before officially closing the meeting. First of all, we have our next meeting in 2 weeks today, which is the 22nd of February, same time, same room. And then the following meeting will be the 1st of March. And let me run that again. The meeting after that will be the 8th of March, where we will be having our contest. So international speech and evaluation contest. We'll be in touch with members. Guests are absolutely welcome, but sign up, get your speeches ready. This is go. We are gonna go and have that contest on the 8th of March. Everybody said everything for me, including Andrews, saying, yes, we're starting now. This is only our second or third meeting today. Let's see, what can we do next time? It gives me a great pleasure to close this meeting and invite you all to go and visit our speakers, and you will be able to go to breakout rooms, which are open now. And so if the speakers, Ishrath, Vincent, and Pat, can go into those rooms and your evaluators, hopefully, just spend a little bit of time and you may get some more feedback from visitors. Otherwise, you can actually stay in this room and I'll be talking to some guests as well. Great to see you. We'll see you next time on the 22nd of February. Have a good one. Good night.